Carson Show on the B94.5.
All right, 8:43. Special guest in studio. Is that weird? I call everyone special.
Well,
That could be taken the wrong way, I guess.
I like it.
Another
I like
special guest on the special show. Everything's special. Please welcome to the room, Trevor Warren. There we go.
Yeah.
Now, who's Trevor Warren? Well, Trevor Warren is the founder of CoreQuest.ca, which is, I was telling everyone a couple of minutes ago, Trevor moved to North Van in '95 from Toronto and opened up this CoreQuest counseling group in North Van. And basically, you lead a team of registered counselors that all specialize in marriage and relationships and getting people on track. There's so much, miscommunicating going on, with people. And when I actually first heard of her name through a woman named Kelly, who raved about you, and she said, this guy's like one of my major mentors, and he does this incredible program. I have the name of the course down here. You have one coming up, actually.
Yeah, Relationship Revolution
Workshop, which is coming up on June 10th, which we'll give you some more info on in a minute here. But apparently, from what she told me, it is life-changing for couples, this course. And I had a little bit of a misunderstanding of what you were going to be talking about today. In the course, you talk about the 7 essentials of communicating with your partner. Today, you're going to briefly go over one of those things.
The most important one, yeah.
Right, yeah, because we'd love to have you here for 8 hours straight, but people do want to hear more Rihanna, so.
That's right.
So yeah, this is great. So let's go over, I guess, what is the most important, or what are you going to talk about today when it comes to dealing with communicating?
Right. So the very first essential that we cover in this program is staying calm versus reactive, and I'm very passionate about this particular one because it's the one that I see every day in my office that is the most fundamental mistake that couples are constantly making, where, they're trying to get something across to their partner. Generally speaking, we're not great listeners. We have our own agenda. We're trying to get that across. It doesn't get across, and then the next thing we do is we try harder. And things escalate, and we get into reactive or arguments, and then, I'm sure everyone's been there, right? And it always breaks down. And it doesn't only break down, but it can actually get into some damage, right? So it's the most critical thing to figure out right off the bat, and the most difficult.
I have an actual sound of what happened in my brain the last time I had a fight with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's an actual...
Okay, yeah, that's at the worst end, right?
We don't want to get to this point, anymore. So how do you stay calm?
Well, I think people often try to stay calm, and they're not very successful at it. And there's a really good reason why that is because our response to threat, whether it's real or perceived, has been wired in us for millions of years, evolutionarily wise.
Okay.
Right. So when our partner comes to us and they're not hearing us or whatever, and we start to get escalated, what's wired in our central nervous system is it's like a saber-toothed tiger coming at us, right? But we can't make that distinction. Our brain's not making that distinction. So what happens in our body is the blood in our capillaries constrict, adrenaline starts to pump into our body, our attention narrows, our senses become acute. Like, this is all for the instinctual survival. And the most important thing that's important to understand here is that our prefrontal cortex, which is our higher thinking brain, it's the executive functioning, slows down, and we go into a very primitive part of our brain called the brain stem, which we share with all animals.
Okay.
And it's responsible for fight, flight, and freeze. So we get very kind of dumb in our responses.
It's almost like all the power in our brain goes into a situation where if you are scared, or if there is that tiger outside your cave, your thinking shuts down, is what you're saying, and the part of your body that continues to operate is the adrenaline, so that if you need to run, if there's something that's going to kill you, you're not thinking anymore. Your brain power is now solely on running, or like fighting or running.
Which is a very good thing to do when you're faced with a life and death situation.
But your brain doesn't distinguish the tiger to your wife.
Partner throwing a glass of whatever that was on your lap.
Oh, fascinating.
And it doesn't even have to be that intense, right? People get pretty reactive, pretty upset, and people are different on this continuum. Some people can really stay steady in the storm. Other people lose it pretty quickly.
And it's like they almost call it like the hot button.
Yeah.
It's like there's like, and I've had that before where it's like someone just says something and just the way your brain, I guess you feel threatened in some kind of way, and just instantly you can go from totally calm to exactly what you were describing, that feeling like you tighten up and your blood constricts and you feel your face kind of swelling up a little bit, and it's just like, oh, instantly.
And
Yeah.
usually when you're in those moments too, and you're so reactive, you usually say things that later on you regret,
Always.
right? Because you're
Almost
coming at
always.
it and you're not thinking straight,
Yeah.
and it proves true what you're saying about, well, you become kind of dumb, so that's why you're not saying the right things.
So
Yes.
When
clinically,
you're reacting.
you do become dumb in that moment.
Yeah, I say when you're angry, you're stupid.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. When feelings go up, thinking goes down.
Oh, I like that. When feelings go up, thinking goes down. I want to get that tattooed on my. Well, I'm not telling you where it's going,
But you got to remember, like that is good in a situation where you are in a life and death, situation. You're not going to want to be having all your resources located in other places where you just need to make a decision. Do I run or do I fight? And when you think about it, when you're in these situations with intimate partners and stuff like that, that's kind of basically what happens. You're either fighting with them, you're walking out the door, or you're freezing. You're like,
So
and
true.
you go into it, right? So it's really easy to see those three fundamental responses, which are the most basic.
Never had anyone break it down so simple like that.
Yeah.
So true. You're either fighting or walking out the door for a walk, or you're freezing. That's
Or
so
you're freezing
true.
out, yeah.
Now, how do we break that cycle? When you feel your body go,
Right.
how do you stop? Like, what do you do in that moment?
Okay, so I have an acronym that I use. I call it SMART. So it's kind of tied in. When you're angry, you're stupid. So like I'll get smart. So the very first S stands for stop. What you're doing, just stop. This is the hardest part.
Okay.
Because when you're angry and you feel like your partner's not getting you want them to get you, and you think, if I just angle it this way, if I just say it louder, and it just gets more intense, and all they're thinking is that same thing too, right? They're not getting me. I'm just going to say it this way. I'm going to say it louder. I'm going to say it this way.
Yeah.
And it just intensifies. So the very first thing to learn to do is to stop. And it's the hardest thing to do. I don't know if you've been in a situation where sometimes you even know that what you're saying is crazy or doesn't make sense, but there's this kind of addictive kind of urge to want to just keep it going. It's like you just want to get the last word in.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult thing. So if you can do that first step of this whole thing, it's going to help. So stop. And that usually I have a stop sign that I coordinate with couples. It's like their hands on their heart and their hand goes up and it says, and that's a signal. If both people have that language, they know that what this means is I respect you enough. I know that anger, upset, I know where we go with this all the time. I know it's not going to help us, so stop.
Okay.
So S.
S for smart.
S is
stop.
so you stop.
Okay.
Right? M is for make a return time. Usually when we're upset, if we're going to walk out the door, slam the door, we don't say, I'm coming back.
I never do. No.
We walk out the room, it's like,
Screw you.
yep, screw you.
I'm
Thank
leaving.
you. Thanks for that.
You don't say, I'm going to go for a walk back in 10 minutes when I'm cool down. You just leave.
And then what happens to the person in the room is they start to freak out thinking, okay, is this, their anxiety, which was already up, is going to shoot through the roof thinking, okay, is this it? Are you done? Like if it's really intense. So you want to make a return time. You're saying, I'm going to come back for this. I understand. I see that I'm upset. I'm going to come back. And what that does for the person you're leaving is saying, we're going to come back and return on this. A lot of times, a lot of stuff gets swept under the rug, right? People are hoping that if you just don't talk about it, it goes away. Doesn't.
Yeah, it comes back for sure.
So you make a return time, and you're really impeccable with that. You say, and it's got to be about a minimum 30 minutes.
Okay.
Because the physiology of your body is, it takes that long for that your nervous system to settle down.
Start relaxing.
Okay.
So make a return time.
Okay. Let's come back with the rest of SMART in a second here. Let's absorb that. So stop. We're going through the acronym of how to stop this negative cycle of fighting. So stop, make a return time. We'll come back with, I don't know how you
With
spell
the art.
How do you spell
Yeah.
SMART?
With
Yeah,
the
we'll come back with the
arts.
art.
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on one sec. More with Trevor Warren in just a sec.